Hey guys, I hope that you guys are doing amazing wherever you are in the world. My name is Shikha and I welcome you to my channel. I'm so grateful that you guys are listening, subscribing, and commenting on my channel. I really appreciate the support. In this video, I want to speak to you guys about INFJs and their psychic ability. But more so, I want to speak about the fact that it is not our responsibility to share the information we gather through our psychic ability with the people around us. It is not our responsibility to save someone else. I've done several videos on this in the past, that we are not the saviors of this world and that we're not the saviors or healers of the people around us. I see this so often. I get emails from you guys all the time, telling me of the people around you who need your help and you need to be there for them, because if you weren't there for them, they would completely be devastated and fall apart. And even though it is causing you a lot of pain and it's causing you to degrade yourself because you're getting too tired or you're burning out or you're exhausted, you're still putting yourself into these people's lives and taking care of them. It's not your responsibility to save someone else. Every person has their own responsibility to save themselves. And of course, also, you can't save someone else. If someone doesn't actually want to be saved and if they want to keep on living their life the way they have been, without changing and without wanting to change, there's nothing you can do by doing your work in front of them or trying to heal them. There's nothing you can do for them because they themselves have to start the process of healing on their own, and they have to go through the process themselves as well. So I can't help you. You can't help them. No one can help anyone else. Of course, we can be there for them and we can be physically present, or we can listen to them when they need our help, and when they want us to be there for them, we can be physically and emotionally present. But that's really it, guys. That's actually really it. You can't kind of guide them to the process of healing or pull them along unless they really want to be healed themselves. And in the process, you're basically enabling them. You're basically creating a situation where they're going to become dependent on you, and they're not going to be able to become that independent, free, awakened individual on their own. Everyone has to go through the journey on their own. A couple of you guys have actually asked me this question about your psychic ability and how you've been able to see certain things about the people in your life. So perhaps you have seen that your friend is going to go through a pregnancy and she's going to have a miscarriage through your psychic ability. Or you've seen that your mother is going to meet someone and he's going to be the perfect guy for her, and she's going to live happily ever after, or things like that. Who knows what you're seeing with your psychic ability. And our psychic ability, basically, as I've done videos on this in the past, so go check those out. But our psychic ability is basically us tapping into the collective consciousness. So there is this collective consciousness, and I've spoken about this previously, where it is just the super consciousness. It is the collection of all the thoughts, feelings, emotions, ideas, any kind of information that's out there in this universe. The collective consciousness holds all of this information. And when you meditate, or when you're awakened, or when you tap into that higher consciousness, that super consciousness, you're able to kind of see into that, into that space, and you're able to get transmissions, basically, of information, not only about yourself and your path, which is what you're really going for, but also things about other people around you. And if you're really connected to a person around you, you're going to see things about them, right? My mother is absolutely interestingly psychic. It's so fascinating to actually hear her talk about it. She's an ENFJ, and which is pretty similar to an INFJ, except they're extreme extroverts, and they love taking care of the people around them, right? And they're extremely connected to the people that they care about. So she loves her children to death. My mother is a great mother, and she loves us to death, overprotectively so sometimes, which is nice to have that kind of love in my life. And so she loves me so much that she knows instantaneously when I'm going through a hard time. For example, there's a story that I'll share with you guys, which is kind of scary at times when I think about it. So I was going through a tough time at school. There was some person who was bullying me. And because I was very meek at that time, very timid, I had a hard time figuring out how to deal with this individual. I'd be crying on my own. I didn't want to obviously tell my parents or my siblings because I didn't want to put that burden on them. Also, I didn't think they could help me. This is something that's happening in school. How am I going to deal with it? Nothing they can do about it. And so I'm at my part-time job, I'm working away and doing my thing, and I get a message from my mother, can you call me? And I'm like, yeah, of course. And whenever she sends me these kind of messages, I always freak out. I'm like, oh my God, what happened? Are you all right? And so I call her back as soon as I can, as soon as I can take a break. And she says, I was taking a nap and I had a dream about you. And I was like, all right, is this what you called to tell me? And she's like, no, the dream was saying that you were crying and you were asking me for help. And, you were a little child again. You were like, oh, Mom, I need help. And you were crying. And I woke up because, you were crying. And I realized that perhaps you need help in real life. And so what's going on with you? Tell me, is there something going on with you that you need help with, right? And it's funny because, I, in that moment, realized that I was being an idiot by keeping all this to myself. And I shared with her what was going on with me. Not that she could help me with it, but just having that conversation with her instantaneously gave me the strength. And she gave me a couple of tips on how to deal with this person. And it all actually worked out perfectly. But in that moment, I realized how strong our psychic connection is, especially between a mother and her child. You know how it is for a mother. They are so psychically connected to their kids, right? If you're an INFJ mother, I'm guessing you're even more so connected to your kids, which is absolutely insane when I think about it, right? And so even if she's an ENFJ, she still has amazing psychic connection. Also, it has to do with the fact that she's a mother, my mother I'm talking about. But INFJs in general have this sort of psychic ability. Now, it's not like where you can be like, oh, I see everything and I see the future and, I can see that you're going to die on 20th September 2099 or something. It's not like that, and it shouldn't be like that. I think when people are very specific about their predictions, I always get a little bit annoyed by that because that's not how it's supposed to be. That's not how the transmissions come to you. A lot of the transmissions you might get about your in your psychic ability are going to be extremely subtle and probably convoluted in a way where you have to actually think about it and unscramble it in order to pull out the pertinent information, right? And so probably you've done the unscrambling and you're sitting there, you got some transmission, you did the unscrambling, and you're sitting there and you're like, oh my God, I know something about this person in my life. I absolutely implore you guys not to share that information with that individual unless it's something that's absolutely going to harm them. For example, if you know something about their boyfriend that, he's a terrible person and she's thinking about marrying him, and perhaps she could get into an abusive relationship because of that, or maybe he has a lot of debt or whatever it might be. If she could come to harm because of it, and there's a possibility for you to save that individual, maybe it is plausible for you to, put your foot in and tell them something. But the problem with all that is that individual, how are they supposed to believe you that this is the truth? Right? I mean, how? How are you supposed to convince this individual in front of you that I have psychic ability and I saw this in my dream and I think it's true and it's going to come true for you and you have to be careful? How are you supposed to have that conversation with that individual, especially if they're not awakened, especially if they're still living in the matrix, especially if they're not able to be open to these kind of ideas? Then you're actually putting yourself into the line of fire, and you're putting yourself into a situation where you're going to be berated, you're going to be put down, and maybe you're going to lose your friendship, and you're going to feel terrible about yourself, right? You're going to be like, oh my God, I'm an idiot, I'm a loser, I can't believe it. All of this stuff is going to happen. And I've done this in the past. I'm sharing it from experience, where I've been in a situation where I had information transmitted to me about this individual. I was able to unscramble it, and I realized it was about this specific friend of mine, and I shared it with her. And of course, our friendship ended because it was about a person that she loved. Now, of course, it came true. Not of course, it did come true. And so, eventually she did apologize to me, but it doesn't matter. In that moment in time, I was an idiot, and I shared information that sometimes people are not ready to hear. Right? It is not your responsibility to save them. It is not our responsibility to save anyone in our life. Yes, we've gotten information. Perhaps there's a reason that we're getting this information. Maybe we're supposed to use it. But I implore you guys to be extremely careful with sharing this kind of convoluted, high-level information with people in your life. A lot of people are going to think you're insane. And that's just going to perpetuate the idea in your family and the people around you that you're a little bit off. And that idea is not a good idea to be around. Like, I know you guys are already, berated by your family because you're different, because you're an INFJ. I really don't want you guys to go through even more of that nonsense, right? So unless that information is absolutely crucial for that person, it's crucial for their life or for their safety, I would tell you guys not to share that information with that individual. I would actually implore you guys not to. And that's one of the things I constantly tell people when they email me, you know, saying, oh, I'm psychic and I got this information about this person. Should I share it with them? My answer instantaneous is like, no, don't do it. Just don't do it. Just don't share it. I know it's probably going to be extremely hard for you because as an INFJ, as an empath, as a person who genuinely cares about the people in their life, I know you're going to be like, oh my God, but I could save this person. I could take care of them. They could avoid this disaster, or they could avoid this person, or whatever it might be, right? But as I said, I want you guys to be really careful about this, because not only is it going to hurt them, it's going to hurt you more so, and it's going to hurt your relationship. And that's something I really don't know if it's worth it. I really don't know if it's worth it, because a lot of times they're not going to even believe you, and you've put yourself in a situation where you're going to be put into the line of fire. All right, I hope this makes sense. I'm not necessarily telling you guys to be fragile about it or cowards about it. Cowards. I don't want to scare you, right? That's not what my intention is. I want us to be brave, and I want us to own our qualities. I want us to own our awesomeness, but not at the risk of kind of putting ourselves out there and then being berated for it. What's the point of it? Why put yourself in a situation where you're going to be put down or where you're going to be made fun of? I really don't see the reason for it. I don't see the necessity for it. I think my psychic ability is for myself. So all the transmissions I get about myself, I use it for myself, and that's it. That is what the reason is for it. I really don't think that it is for us to use for other people. I don't think we're receiving all these transmissions so we can take care of the people around us. That's not the reason for it. It is for ourselves. But if you're a mother and you get a transmission about your child, children are still unable to take care of themselves, please do, take care of your child. Of course, in that situation, I would say it's absolutely paramount, because your children are unable to do that for themselves. But besides that, I would say that very rare that you can say, okay, yeah, I can share this information with this person and it's going to turn out all right. Now, of course, every situation is, you have to do it by case by case. So look at the situation, look at the person that you might be sharing the information with, look at the scenario and look at what you're sharing with that person, and then make your own judgment. But really be careful with it. It's not something that you should just dilly-dally with, right? It's not something that you can just be like casual about. It's extremely important information that you're receiving from the superconsciousness, and you have to handle it with care, all right? I hope this makes sense. I know I shared a couple of abstract concepts in this video, but I hope that I was able to explain myself to you guys. Again, if you guys have any questions about this video or any other topic that I've done in the past, please message me anytime by commenting below, or you can obviously email me. Now, if you do comment and ask me a question, please hashtag it. Hashtag, put like a number sign and question, or number sign or hashtag and advice, so I know that you want an answer to your comment. But mostly because I read the comments and I just say, thank you for watching, or I just put a generic comment. If you necessarily want a reply, I need you guys to hashtag it. So hashtag and a hashtag advice, hashtag question, hashtag something that tells me that you want me to pay attention to this question. All right? Again, I hope this makes sense. Thank you for watching, and I shall see you guys in the next video. Bye for now.